Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cinema Shakedown, the weekly podcast that functions as a grab bag for all things Malkovich. Malkovich. I'm your host, John Malkovich.
I'm your other host, John Malkovich.
And I'm the other host, John Malkovich, a.k.a. the baby-bodied freakazoid, John Malkovich.
I think those are pretty apt words to describe John Malkovich as a baby-bodied freakazoid.
He's a baby-bodied freakazoid.
That's him, man.
How you guys doing? How are you guys doing this
Doing
lovely
good,
Sunday?
I'm playing Resident Evil 4 again.
Oh, nice.
Remake.
W.
It's 100% my favorite game of all time. Far and away.
Yeah.
It's
Dude,
the
it's
shit.
so good.
What other games can you Batista bomb the undead in?
Dude,
like,
and
That's a good point.
What's funny is, like, in the first playthrough, I had no knowledge of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it only happened, like, naturally. Like, I wasn't seeking it out.
Yeah,
sure.
You know, it would just
but now
happen
this run, it's literally
But
just
now that
stone
I've,
cold
like,
stunner them.
gotten hip on, like, what you can do in that game, like, yeah, I've just gotten behind enemies as often as I can.
I've gotten to where Elden Ring gets hard, and I don't think I'm having fun anymore.
Caught up to you.
See, the problem is I really cruised through, like, the first 2/3 of this game.
Yeah.
Where I was like, it had been like 2 years since I started my last playthrough, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe this
Shit's light work, no
Maybe
reaction.
this isn't as tough as I remember it being. And then,
They stack those fuckers.
No, literally, they know. Like, they know. They can sense it when you're getting too cocky.
Yeah.
And they make I think that, like, the game takes a significant jump, and they're like, all right, buddy, deal with that.
I genuinely think FromSoft is the master at the vibe check.
They're the master of get good. Like, there is no other way to play those games.
It
You
really
just have
is
to
like
be
kind
good
of
at
an
them.
ego check, those games.
Yeah.
100%.
You think you're doing great?
It's the video game equivalent of psychedelics. Like, From Software games lead to ego death. Like,
That's great.
You will understand how insignificant you are in the grand miasma of the universe after you play fucking Dark Souls.
I wanna let it be known that the Shia LaBeouf renaissance continues. I watched his Hot Ones interview a couple days ago.
Was that a newer one or is that an
No,
old one?
that's an old. I've seen that. Yeah.
I don't know if he was on it again.
That interview was even before the whole, like, allegations came out, so he was still, like, kind of in the clear. He was just kind of still like a nut who was just, like, getting drunk in public and stuff.
Yeah, it was like a fun kind of crazy for a while. Like.
There's this bit he constantly does throughout it where it's like he'll eat a really spicy wing, and then he'll look at the camera and goes like, "Look how fucking sad I look. Look how fucking sad I am right now." And at one point, like, there's even a part where, like, the camera, like, starts at his legs and he goes like, "Look at this. Look how..." It's after the bomb, actually, where he goes like, "Look how fucking sad I am." Camera pans up and he's...
Unfortunately, that is one of the best Hot Ones episodes.
Unfortunately, I had a great time with it. I loved it personally.
Yeah. You would.
Shia is I'm sorry, man. Shia is one of my favorite actors.
Do you know?
I love Shia LaBeouf. Everything he does, I think he gives it 10.
Do you know an actor who's kind of a nut job who I can't really believe has, like, gotten away scot-free is Gary Busey. I don't know.
What has he done in his... I guess I'm not familiar with the Gary Busey lore.
But I'm saying, like, that's what I'm saying. There isn't any. That's what's surprising. Like, the fact that, like, that weirdo, like you know who I'm talking about, right?
Of course
Like, you can
Gary
picture
Busey
his face in your mind.
Gary Busey!
Like, I can't believe they haven't found bodies underneath, like, the cement in his basement yet. Like, real talk. Like, the fact that dude is, by all accounts, a stand-up guy. Unless I'm missing something. Unless I need to do a quick Wikipedia check.
I mean, it's crazy that David O. Russell isn't, like...
He should be.
Roman Polanski territory.
They should have put him under the jail.
Yeah.
Thrown away.
Did you
bury him under the jail.
Did you see me tense up and clench when you mentioned David O. Russell's name? I was like, what is he about to say?
No, David Pete O. Russell. Should be in the same category.
You tensed up like all the actors on David O. Russell's set.
I went, ooh, fuck
yeah. Fucking
scumbag.
One of the actors being fucking Taylor Swift. I mean,
he's also not good enough of a director to for anyone to.
Like, I agree. I like Silver Linings Playbook a lot.
It's good, but, like,
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. Yeah,
people like Three Kings. I
didn't see that one.
Ice Cube.
I don't give a shit about that movie.
Yeah,
one of my recent. I don't DNF a lot of movies. I DNF to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And I was watching
because it sucked so much.
Yes, because it sucked ass.
Yeah.
It was like someone trying to do. I don't even know, like a Wes Anderson Quark comedy, but, like, it was David O. Russell.
That one clip I saw
of Taylor Swift
dying,
yeah.
like it it didn't even give. I guess I get what you mean, but
Yeah.
it didn't even give like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's. It gave. Oh, that's funny, as opposed to like.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looked like it just.
It's
didn't
funny out of
achieve
context.
what it was trying to get.
It didn't at all.
I mean, out of context, it is very funny.
It's very
Watch
funny.
Get run over by a car.
For
like,
sure,
that is,
absolutely. And it's like 10 minutes into the movie too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So she's just a cameo?
Yeah.
Big ups to her. I wish nothing but misery upon her and Travis Kelce and the Chiefs this year. Anyway.
So, anything watched not for the podcast that we want to talk about briefly?
Yeah, other than Shia LaBeouf stuff. Oh, you know what?
Hey, you want to try some LaBeouf stuff tonight?
We'll do some LaBeouf stuff.
I like that.
We'll do some LaBeouf stuff.
We should start a segment of the show where we review Shia LaBeouf movies, but call it LaBeouf stuff.
I like that.
I like that
There
a
you
lot.
go. Hey.
We'll after a movie we're gonna talk about in this episode. After we got done watching that, coming back from the theater, I turned on Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire.
Okay.
The most underrated Harry Potter.
Is that why
It's
you
my
liked
favorite.
my review from like 2014 of it?
Yep.
So funny.
I wasn't in.
Dylan, rank the Harry Potter movies right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Goblet of Fire, Prisoner of Azkaban.
I flipped those.
Yeah,
But like, yeah, I agree.
7 Part 2.
Based as hell.
6.
Okay.
I love 6.
Boring.
2, 5, 1.
No.
Okay. No. I pretty much agree with that. I think the only thing I disagree with is I think 6 is a little high. More like the Half-Blood Nap.
I disagree. We don't have the time, nor do I have the energy to actually do this.
We're gonna talk about the Harry Potter movies at some
Eventually,
point, I'm sure.
Eventually, they're gonna dust out that old franchise.
I mean, I got the shit.
From my memory of a few years ago, I'm gonna say Prisoner of Azkaban,
Sure.
Hollows Part 2, Goblet.
Cool. It's top 3.
I mean, yeah, those are to me those are the 3
Yeah.
best, and then the rest of them just kind of blur together. For me.
I'm also.
I like Half.
I'm gonna say Half-Blood.
Yeah, same. I love
Hollows Part 1.
Oh, I forgot about Part 1.
See, the problem is
That's where Part 1 is where it gets blurry for me.
I don't want to
really
encourage fucking
Chamber is my least favorite.
I don't want to encourage audience activity with this bit because I feel like if the Potterheads come out, they're gonna come for our
shit.
throats.
Just know I'm with you guys. I got the shit tatted.
You guys
on me.
do realize we pissed off the Swifties and the Potterheads in the last 10 minutes.
If
right?
Swifties are listening to this podcast,
At least one is. One has to be
we
right.
have bigger issues if Swifties are listening to this fucking podcast.
They found us, bro.
yeah. Anyway, you watched anything else besides the podcast you want
The
to talk
Boys
about?
is back.
The Boys is back.
Season
I'm
4.
an episode in. You've watched all 3 of the available ones.
Season 4 is
great.
gas.
I can't.
So
awesome.
far.
I watched The Boys with my baby.
It's too emotionally
at one time.
painful.
I just can't.
You gotta get over that shit,
Since
dog.
we broke. No, I can't.
You gotta let go.
On top of that, I also just don't give a shit.
Is there anything you do give a shit about?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not a whole lot, which is never mind.
Interesting.
The Boys is great right now.
Yeah, no, it's gas. It's heat.
It's gas.
It's a little bit of a slower start than season 3, I think, but not derogatory.
Yeah,
I think
mad
it's
at
just
it.
slower in the sense that
Yeah.
the where we're headed isn't quite so
Correct.
clear. But I kind of like that. I kind of like that it's laying all the plot threads out that are eventually going to
I
converge
agree.
by the end of the
House
season.
of the Dragon starting tonight. We have not seen the newest episode yet. But
I will, though.
We will by next week. So
And I'm caught up on Smiling Friends.
I'm not.
Good shit. Peak.
Yeah, I season 1's good. So
Dylan, did you see the guy who did the fucking Scooby Snack cartoon is getting a goddamn Adult Swim show?
Yeah. I mean, about time.
Yeah, no, for sure. No,
that's a great show.
It's gonna be awesome.
Sire. it's like, yo, I've been watching The Bear with my parents lately.
The new season of that drops in
2 weeks.
It's gonna be during
2 weeks,
shoot weekend, which sucks. But
That's okay. You have something to do on Monday.
I'm thinking it's just gonna be a decompressing thing, after each day of shooting.
Yeah. Is the
Yeah.
whole, I was gonna say, is the whole thing dropping or is it?
It should be. Yeah.
It's all on Hulu. No, I mean, I've been begging my fucking parents to watch the show with me for a long time now.
He's like, please.
I haven't seen season 2.
Yeah,
I've seen 2 episodes of season 2.
So I'll say what I said to my.
I'm gonna
parents.
catch up this next week.
Dude, season 1 is very much like a the way you treat a pilot, where it's very like prove yourself, kind of prove that you deserve to stay on TV. That's like the entirety of season 1, in my opinion.
I'd say
complimentary. Like I mean that
fantastic.
in a good way.
Yeah.
But it is very much like
for sure.
They even end it in a way where it's like this could just be its own show.
Of course.
And
of course.
You know.
Season 2 was great from what I heard, and I heard it only gets better. I was busy with stuff.
Season 2 is what The Bear is.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2 is
that's kind of when the show really starts.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna catch up before 3. The only other thing I've been watching TV show, but I'm watching Avatar, The Last Airbender right now.
Cool.
I am 65%, 70% done with season 1 right now. It's good.
It's good, man.
It's good. Season 1 is definitely, from what I've heard, the weakest season.
It is.
It has a more from what I remember, because I watched a lot of it growing up, so I have memories of a lot of the major plots, but they're all out of order and scrambled in my head. Season 1 has a more juvenile tone than the series eventually becomes. It's a lot more like, cartoon for kids.
Yeah. You'll miss it.
Right.
When shit gets real, you'll miss it.
But the characters are so awesome, and it looks great. It's got such a vibe to it.
I mean, it is. It's probably the best Western animated show of all time.
Is it Western?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It's Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
How crazy is it that Nickelodeon had enough faith in those guys to drop like a serialized anime on the same channel that fucking like SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents
were Dan Schneider was just running them on. I think Dan Schneider was like down for Last Airbender.
I don't think Dan Schneider had anything to do with the cartoons. I think he was on a completely.
He was on set.
Unless Timmy Turner's like come out and said something.
Well, that was the era when Cartoon Network was starting to take risks, because they also did Samurai Jack around the same time. Oh no, sorry, that was Cartoon Network.
But like same era.
Same era where like cartoons.
I would say Samurai Jack is probably Cartoon Network's equivalent to The Last Airbender.
Absolutely.
Did you guys ever watch Kick Buttowski?
I've heard of it.
I fucking love it.
I think that may have been a little after my time.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I was
not a Kick Buttowski.
I've told Kyle, I think Adventure Time and Regular Show are like the two big markers for me that I didn't watch, because that was like
Regular Show was so good. Adventure Time never hit.
That was right around the time where I was at the age where like, cartoons are gay. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, I'm in middle school. I play football now. I listen to Eminem. I don't watch cartoons.
Yeah.
So like, I completely missed the whole hype wave on those, and then I went to college again, and I was like, you know what? These cartoon things are pretty.
Regular Show is fucking.
I mean, it's fun. Like everything I've seen, like the clips I've seen out of context are so funny.
The weirdest thing about watching Last Airbender is in the credits seeing Dave Filoni a lot, because he directed a lot of episodes of it before he's...
The best thing Dave Filoni's ever done.
Yeah, it's been downhill since then.
Fellas, what are we...
Oh, yeah.
What are we doing this
episode?
We are going inside people
We need to enter some people.
Typical Cinema Shakedown activity going inside people.
So, the release of Inside Out 2 today gave him the brilliant idea of not only just watching the first Inside Out movie, but talking about a few movies that take place inside people's minds. So we chose Being John Malkovich and Meet Dave. Two polar opposites.
Absolutely comparable pieces.
Yin and yang.
Kyle, let me ask you something first right off the bat. I think this is the most important question that pertains to our discussion.
Okay.
You're 6 inches inside of John Malkovich, and Meet Dave is 6 inches inside of you. Which direction do you move to escape?
So, okay, repeat the question. I need to...
So you're like...
It's a highly conceptual question.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, I'll be a little less generous. I'll be a little less generous. You're 4 inches inside of John Malkovich.
Okay.
And Meet Dave is 4 inches inside of you. Which direction do you move to escape?
I don't think there is an escape.
I take the gun out of my pocket and I shoot myself.
You end it all.
That's great.
I'm getting a real answer for you by the end of the show.
He's gonna
you think on it. You stew on that.
I'll stew on that for a while.
Consider that as much as you need to.
So we're going to do chronological order, right?
So by release, not by we watch.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So we're starting with 1999's Being John Malkovich.
What a year.
The directorial debut of Spike Jonze and the writing debut of Charlie Kaufman.
Two
titans.
Absolute weirdos.
Total fucking freaks.
Yeah. Complimentary.
And this movie revolves around a puppeteer played by John Cusack.
Just a greasy person.
Yep.
Just a worm.
And he puppetry is not paying well.
You don't say.
So he gets this job in a kind of dingy, weird half floor of an office building.
Yeah.
And within that office building, he finds a portal that when climbed through, he realizes that it leads you into the mind of John Malkovich for 15 minutes.
You describing the plot of this just made me think about how much like the first 20 minutes of this and The Matrix are similar.
That's funny. Kind of.
Like a hapless nobody working at a dead-end like office job.
Both years.
Literally like finds a figurative and metaphorical portal into like a world where, they realize their full potential.
Yeah. And
John Cusack is like
Neo?
married to a woman.
You think
who's
so?
played by Cameron Diaz.
Yes.
I'm talking about his
right? Before we go further, spoilers for Being John Malkovich, Meet Dave, and the first Inside Out.
Please.
No,
he's married to Cameron Diaz, who is like this cat lady sort of archetype.
Quirky.
She's got the crazy
animal lady in general.
Pixie
She got some
girl.
crazy.
I'm gonna say this right now.
Yeah.
This is the most I've been attracted to Cameron Diaz.
I
think she's.
I also think it's her best performance.
Probably.
I think I'd have to give hottest to Ogre Fiona, but I do agree this is like
it's close second. I'm sorry, dude.
Listen. Like this is like top 3. I'm right there with
Cameron
you.
Diaz in this movie is like she's the woman that I'm like seeking in life.
Ladies, if you're single,
and you look like Cameron Diaz when she's a cat lady with crazy stringy curly hair.
I'll dox his address. I'll send it to you.
I'll send it to you.
We'll collab.
I'll reveal my Instagram.
So she's the girlfriend of John Cusack, and the other character of note is Catherine Hahn.
Catherine Keener.
Sorry. Oh, Catherine Hahn. Catherine Keener.
I could not... Dude, do you remember...
Yeah.
And, like, the OG run of the podcast, and we did the Glass Onion episode, was it Kate Hudson I kept calling Julianne Hough the whole time?
Yes, the whole time.
I could not...
And I couldn't correct you, because I was like,
I had a That's So Raven vision of, like, that happening, and I had to, like, stop you.
Yeah.
Like,
so Catherine Keener, who was nominated for an Oscar... plays someone that works at the same office building as John Cusack and who is kind of trying to find a way to exploit this portal into John Malkovich for personal gain. And from there
lesbian gain, dude.
And from there you have a web of very strange
Matrix transgender allegory.
We can get into that. You're right.
It's weird little love triangle.
From this you get into a web of very strange relationship dynamics. And Spike Jonze and Charlie Kaufman doing what they do best, which is exploring existential ideas through this weird, quirky humor, and it's so hard to describe.
It's very hard to describe.
It's very hard to describe.
I like watching you try to describe it because it is.
Yeah.
That shit is.
Trying to break it
insane.
down. You sound like a crazy person.
I think I told you in the car. I mean this entirely complimentary. This is the most autistic movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
It is. It's like
neurodivergent.
There's such like a blunt and like matter of fact way that people like speak to each other in this world that is so like. It catches you so off guard because it's just a little wrong.
Yeah.
It's almost like a less elegant, and I don't mean elegant in like a less good way, but like a less elegant Wes Anderson where everyone's kind of stilted.
It kind of gave me gave me like
way.
Shyamalan vibes almost, like the way people like.
I can see it.
Human interaction in those movies is like something is like off kilter here, but I think it works.
You're describing this to me, and I think of. Kaufman-esque.
Yeah.
Which this guy really did like create his own sort of
100%.
genre of dialogue and storytelling. But I can't fucking classify it. I don't know how to categorize.
What I do know is I loved this movie.
Yeah, rules.
I loved it. I think that it is insane that this is somebody's first movie. Mm-hmm. I think the fact that he was able to not only get this approved...
Imagine pitching this to us.
I know.
A boardroom of executives.
Not only able to get it approved, but able to tackle all these ideas in a way that is consistently entertaining, engaging and deep. There are layers to this, not only layers to the plot, which there are some, but layers to the characters and their dynamics with each other. Specifically, Cameron Diaz, I find very interesting in what they do with her, is in a way ahead of its time, exploring ideas of
in terms of like its social
I was about to say
ideas.
And exploring feelings of gender dysphoria through
like in terms of like a
lens.
mainstream Hollywood release.
Because Cameron Diaz's kind of deal is that when she goes into John Malkovich, she she wants to be a man when she comes out of it. She thinks that she's transgender.
Where'd they end up going with that, though?
The fact that I don't think that they have to go anywhere with that to make it what am I trying to say? Just because that thread doesn't get resolved doesn't make it less important to the character.
It's not. Well, I agree, or I think the opposite. I'm not looking for resolution in that. But it's not important to the character. It very quickly she just becomes focused on Catherine Keener. And they drop the whole transgender or transvestite, whatever term you want to use. They drop that whole sort of thing. So here, my thing with this movie is I liked it. I thought it was good. It has very much. You know what? For being a first movie of someone and a first published script for someone or first used script for someone, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
Emphasis on imagine pitching this.
Yeah.
Imagine
I can't even
trying to get this
convincing someone to give you what was the budget for this?
It had to have been fucking $4 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe 5. Something. Look, it's impressive, but there's still first script, first movie isms about this. Specifically in how they explored the ideas, because what makes this movie so fucking crazy is how many ideas there are and how many themes.
13 million.
No shit.
13 million.
For your first movie, that is Look, I respect this movie more than I like it, and I do like it.
So do you think that you find it too messy?
Not
overstuffed.
In the way, overstuffed is probably the word.
Yeah.
It's just a little. You're trying to say too much, or you're trying to fit too many.
Unfocused, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think it's unfocused because the direction that it takes and just the way the story is executed in general. The whole they fall out on this fucking just highway in the middle of nowhere. The structure of it works perfectly. Yeah. Which gives you room to execute all these sort of ideas, but they don't really go anywhere with all these ideas.
See, I think there's a baseline absurdism to this world that I almost am fine with it doing away with the narrative conventions of going anywhere with your themes. I don't know, something.
No, I think that works.
Something. It's almost like reading a Dr. Seuss book or something. The way
that's a great.
This world is so zany and off kilter that when it throws all these ideas at you, I'm primed to just kind of go with it.
Just go with it.
You know what I mean?
You can't.
I
think that's my issue with this movie, and that's on my end. Yeah. Is I wanted to focus on what this movie's trying to say.
Yeah.
Whereas this is very much a movie where you just kind of fucking ride along with it and
it's vibes.
In terms of themes, you catch what you do. Ideas, you catch what you catch.
It feels like they really took the dish rag of ideas and really
rang it out, dude. Yeah.
I almost feel this would be a problem with other movies focusing on so many ideas that you never really go
get
all the way with
any.
them.
Yeah.
But the fact that it does tackle all these ideas and it kind of hits all of the high concept
it hits
questions you would have with this kind of scenario.
Sure.
I was just gonna say, sorry. My biggest issue with this movie is there's not enough John Malkovich. I think I think
he's great in it too.
He's very good.
He steals the movie for me. I think he gives the best performance.
Oh man, the performances across the board.
John Cusack's my favorite performance.
Yeah, that's my favorite of his.
But he I found his what's the word I'm looking for? His experience with this whole thing to be the most interesting part to me, how he reacts to this, and I almost feel we just didn't. I feel if this movie was gonna pick a focus, I kind of would have maybe had more of a relationship between him and John Cusack's character and kind of been more about
the puppet and
yeah, I think you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. So where I want to add is I agree with a lot of what you're saying, where the overstuffedness kind of more than messy feels like someone just
kind of threw everything at the wall.
Throwing everything at the wall for their first film.
Like, this feels like your first film, and you think it might also be your last.
In a way, like,
really well
you were using the term proof of concept. I feel like this is the perfect proof of concept for both Spike Jonze as a director and Charlie Kaufman as a writer.
This is like a proof of concept and a thesis statement. Like, it's literally them just laying out like their whole deal.
That's kind of what I was getting at with like when you guys are trying to describe the movie.
Yeah.
All I could think of was like it's Kaufman-esque.
Yeah.
But that to be able to define your style that early on, guys, I respect the fuck out of this.
Not only is all of that true, but I think the overstuffedness actually kind of adds to a feeling of human, like this human quality where even though it is so dry and stilted and surrealist, it's also very human and very. I
think like the emotional core,
the emotions are real.
Of this movie,
just kind of like the themes of like jealousy and like and performance as well. Like
that
both in like art through the puppeteering and all that, but also the themes of just like pretending to be someone that you're
like
fucking not.
The mask we put on in our everyday lives.
I think that's where it shines the most, and that's where I'm the most interested in the film.
Yeah.
And Kyle, I'm not trying to cut you off.
No,
that
you're totally okay.
That is where I feel the film is at its strongest.
And luckily, I do think that is the theme that like shines through the most in this movie. Like the whole, like they seem to like detest the whole idea of like escapism.
Yeah.
And almost like using art as like a way to like step out of your body a little bit.
Yeah, that was a talking point we had when watching the movie, and I remember one of my things sort of to in response to that was like, I don't see art as escapism. It's never been escapism.
You probably get right along with Charlie Kaufman and what's his name?
Spike
Jonze.
And that was part of like her and adaptation, both Spike Jonze films.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite Spike Jonze films because honestly I'm not crazy about the guy, but those are two films that I
mean, he's only made like 5 movies and you love 2 of them.
Yeah. I mean, and I like at least one other of them, right?
Where the Wild Things Are?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I do like. Damn,
maybe you do like Spike Jonze.
But one thing that I think both of those, adaptation and her, kind of nail is like, well, you can't use these things as escapism.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to. And I think this movie, Being John Malkovich, went over my head because I was seeing it through the lens of escapism. Does that make sense, or is that
no? It does.
I think like I think you have to like look at it as a cautionary tale. Like I think that's how this is meant to.
And
like,
I didn't look at it
like
that way.
Like it is like.
I was looking at it as if it was from the perspective of like, okay, you should be.
Like look at how these people's lives are falling apart because they are like exploiting, literally exploiting the mind of an artist. Like,
and this is using escapism as a. If you want to view it through John Cusack's character, it's using escapism as a lens to view that human struggle for control. The feeling of wanting to control your life and not being able to.
I love how well defined everyone's like reasoning for wanting to do this is. Like John Cusack is the puppeteer. He desires like power and control over a life that he is like completely lost control of.
Yep.
Cameron Diaz is like struggling with gender dysphoria, like literally wants to become a new person, and then Catherine Keener is like exploiting it like monetarily, like she is in it purely for the love of the game.
Yes,
totally. They take it really far with like John Cusack's. Like it almost kind of becomes a bit of a horror movie.
It does.
Like the ending, like his like eternal punishment,
where locks Cameron Diaz in a fucking cage.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about the ending, like what happens to him.
Of course, yeah.
I was like, that's like existentially horrifying.
Yeah. There are, if we get to that climax, one of the most impressive visual feats of this film is the sequence where they go through John Malkovich's subconscious, which is very, very impressive and feels like a prototype to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and what that would do so great with time and,
Kaufman
and the melding
directed
of it.
that, didn't he?
No, that was
Michel
Gondry.
Okay.
He did write that, though. And
he's only done like 3 movies.
Correct. Directing-wise, yes.
Yeah.
The biggest surprise I had with this movie, because I was used to Eternal Sunshine and Her from both people. They're very like dour looks at society and stuff.
Yeah.
This movie's very funny.
Yeah.
I was laughing consistently.
It's pretty funny.
It's sense of humor. His fucking boss at his office is hysterical. The fact that he's like a pervert, like out loud in the middle of like public spaces is it's such a funny bit.
It is hilarious.
Every actor is so fully committed to the absurdism. Is specifically John Malkovich after he's become controlled by John Cusack. His performance as
John Cusack
is so good.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
I love that whole sequence of like being John Malkovich actually being in his head,
where it's
everybody is John
great.
Malkovich.
The shot
That's another theme that I really love is like ego.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, it's sort of minute, and which maybe goes into like what I don't love.
Yeah.
Which is I know I said heavy-handed when we watched it. I think overstuffed or is convoluted.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sure.
But just that scene alone was just kind of I don't know, not insightful, but like
that seems very
fun bit at the very.
I think it also like you mentioned it like the ego thing. Like he's literally getting in his own head.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And it's terrifying. It's a horrible place to be. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the perfect way to symbolize like being alone with your own thoughts.
Yeah, dude. And especially with having that much talent.
Yeah.
Because this paints John Malkovich in this weirdly like
they treat him like he's Marlon Brando.
Like he's fucking God.
And I don't have to say John Malkovich is like not a good actor. Like
but that's part of the fun of it is that the whole time I'm watching it, I'm just kind of like, about John Malkovich?
Like of all the guys.
Of everyone here. I guess that's all they could afford.
Well, I think that like speaks to kind of the theme of like the whole escapism and everything, because I think they're trying to illustrate how just like mediocre this
100%,
like you know what I mean, like people like envision this like, because literally the first thing they do when they get into John Malkovich's mind is what he's like reading a magazine, like eating a snack or something like that, like you
just in his bathtub.
There's nothing flashy
like
about
he's just a guy.
Had a really good score.
The
score was very quirky as well. It fitted totally well. And I don't know, there's something special about this movie. You can immediately tell that these are really talented.
I think it is. It's so
guys.
It's very brash. It's very unique.
Very.
And it's very unapologetic.
About
like what it is. Like it
loves what it is.
It never takes a moment to like stop and explain itself. Like it literally grabs you by the collar and is like, hold on.
Self-aware in the best way.
Yes. Like, and I think that energy kind of helps me forgive like any like narrative shortcomings or like story stuff that could maybe be a little tighter.
Absolutely.
I think just like the experience of it, of being John Malkovich, is such a wild ride that it's a movie I think everyone should at least watch once.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I can get down with that.
And I'd say that about anything Spike Jonze or Charlie Kaufman, because they're such unique guys.
Yeah, they are this movie is extremely one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
Like
there's no other movie like
you're just
Being
not
John
going to see
Malkovich.
anything like this. I will say like it and another movie we'll talk about which gave even bigger vibes of this, but like it's similar to like Beau is Afraid.
Yeah.
Of just like what the fuck is this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the best way.
It's almost it's like Beau is Afraid in that you can feel like the catharsis that this must have had for like the creatives involved. Like this needed to be put out of their system.
Yeah.
Do you know Charlie Kaufman's been having trouble getting his projects funded for years now?
Martin Scorsese goes through the same thing as well.
It sucks, man.
Yeah.
Like some of the most
talented fucking people.
Yeah.
That's crazy that Scorsese struggles to get his films funded.
Yep.
Like, what?
That's why you see a new Scorsese is making this movie every single week for the last 20 years. You see that because the
most of them fall through.
Most of them just don't.
Well, I guess that's Francis Ford Coppola had to raise like all the money for
and he can't get distribution for it.
Yeah.
No one's gonna allow him to show this movie anywhere.
It kind of sucks because it's like,
which apparently
it's a double-edged sword, because like we want movie theaters to stick around.
Yeah.
But if we want movie theaters to stick around,
we need movies.
You're gonna have to release like crowd-pleasing like popcorn. Like if you want people to come to the movies, I hate to be the first to admit, people should be seeing Charlie Kaufman and Martin Scorsese movies.
No,
they're not gonna.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
but there was a time where they did though.
And it was so much better. I'm definitely, but I'm saying it's one of those things where it's like a catch-22, because you either lose like auteur-driven, like real movies, or you lose movie theaters.
I'm with you.
You know
and
what
like,
I mean?
And the genuine works of auteurs now are dumped on Netflix or like Apple TV. With that's what happened to Charlie Kaufman's last one.
I was gonna say, what was that? Was that J-Lo movie where she's in the mech?
Well, that auteur movie.
Yeah, that got dumped on Netflix.
And also, they're kind of moving into like shows and stuff like that, or like miniseries.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
true.
Like, that's kind of where the money is. That's where the freedom is.
That's where like the creative. We're in. I think like Succession ended, and we kind of entered like a. Like a new golden age of television.
Yeah. I mean, there was a new series that just came out on HBO from Park Chan-wook. So like you were right. Like some of these big.
Yeah, the auteurs are moving into. That's where the freedom is. Is miniseries and television.
TV. Yep.
And unfortunately, Jordan, I think it kind of adds on to what you're saying about the theaters. Which, by the way, like there is kind of for the viewers that aren't hip, there is kind of this like mass exodus of really renowned theater companies, kind of like. Shutting their shit down statewide.
Yep.
Good on Sony for picking a balance.
Buying shit out, dude.
From what I understand, that is a good thing. So I am.
I'm thinking it will be.
I'm on board with that.
So any more thoughts on?
No, you guys did it better than I could.
Yeah. John Malkovich. That's pretty much all I got to say.
I said everything I did need to say. All my grievances.
Can I say my score first this time? Being John Malkovich, for me, is a 4.5. Funny enough, could have used a little more John Malkovich.
This is a good, solid 4.5 for me. Thought it was fucking excellent. Yeah.
I'm at a 3.5. I'm gonna use your system and go like on a rewatch, which I do think. Yeah, I know you guys said everyone should watch this movie at least once.
Yeah.
Maybe watch it twice.
Maybe 100% do a rewatch for it.
You're saying it could go up to a 4 on a rewatch? It could go up
to a 4.
I love to hear that.
Maybe even a 4.5. I think the language of it could completely change.
Sure.
I think if you watch it with that like cautionary tale lens, like 100%. They are not on board with what's like going. I think that might.
It's not that I didn't get the movie. It's
for sure.
Just that
I think if you just look at it from a new perspective.
Exactly. Which a rewatch will do. The language of it will change.
And that's kind of the struggle sometimes with having expectations based on the prior works of filmmakers that you've seen.
Of course.
And then you're like, oh, shit.
I had seen adaptation before this, and I was like, this and Dream Scenario as well.
Yeah.
I thought the whole time I was just kind of like, adaptation did this better.
Right. I fully admit that a lot of my grievances with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are probably due to expectations at the time of watching it. And if I was to rewatch it, I probably would not have the same.
Maybe like outdated too. I mean, when you saw that in theaters,
literally, I haven't seen it since theaters. 6 years.
You've grown. Your taste have evolved since then.
So I obviously I'm gonna watch it.
Guys, that was really deep and insightful, intellectual film criticism.
Can't wait to talk about.
Let's apply that same logic to the cinema classic Meet Dave.
From what year?
2008.
Yep. Do you want to give a plot rundown of Meet Dave?
No, but I will. So Meet Dave stars Eddie Murphy as Dave. He's a spaceship. He lost a rock on Earth that's going to eat all the water, and so he flies down to Earth to get the rock back, but a precocious little boy who's an average kid that nobody understands gets the rock. And so, but the thing about Dave is he's a spaceship, so he's piloted by tiny little versions. Well, there's one little version of Eddie Murphy and the big Eddie Murphy.
There's a lot of
little people inside of his head piloting the ship, and they got to get the rock back because there's like an energy crisis on their home planet or whatever the fuck.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
It's a great global warming metaphor for sure.
So Meet Dave. That was a great plot rundown.
Thank you. No, God, I didn't finish. So the little people are inside of Dave, right? And they got to get this rock back, okay? But then like Dave and the little boy, they start like forming like a friendship or whatever. And Dave, like he's not used to Earth customs, right? So he's like bumbling his way through shit, you know what I mean? Like, welcome to the old Navy, you know. And then eventually, there's conflict, resolution, shenanigans, even.
Yep.
And that's Meet Dave.
This is one of maybe even the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. I had such a good time.
I had a blast.
Eddie Murphy playing an autistic person.
Yeah.
And so
bringing it back to Being John Malkovich.
This is where I'm at with this film. It's like there's one side of it where it's like this is clearly just a 2008 just product of its time.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go for an easy cash grab.
Yeah.
Far after a star has like reached his peak.
Yeah.
Like this is clearly when Eddie Murphy this was after like a bomb of his.
Oh yeah, this was
Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Post Pluto Nash.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean,
this was post Shrek 3. This was a year removed from Shrek the Third.
We are so out of touch, and we're just gonna use this star who's clearly got 2/3 of the budget in his pocket.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so
Yep.
that's one way to look at it. Like,
That's
this is just a cheap, fucking shitty movie that shouldn't exist but does somehow. On the other hand, it's this.
I'm of two minds.
It's this brilliantly fucking nightmarish, surrealistic adventure about what it's like to be a severely either autistic or schizophrenic person living in their head.
So you really related to it?
I mean, there's a level to this movie that I was like,
I am Dave.
yeah,
I am Dave Ming
I
Chang.
am Meet Dave. I am Meet Dave Ming Chang, dude. Which, by the way,
That should have been the title of the movie, Meet Dave Ming Chang.
Meet Chang.
Yeah.
I think this movie is fucking terrible, and I love
Yeah,
it.
but
I
that's
loved
like-
it
yeah.
so much.
Yeah,
That's part of the
it's
fun.
it's barely a movie.
I
there are
don't
so
consider
many
this-
scenes.
it's certainly not a film.
You referenced some of them. There's so many scenes where it felt like let's follow Eddie Murphy around with a
Look,
camera
fucking
and while he does weird things.
60% of this movie is just Eddie Murphy fucking around in Manhattan, like just
That-
walking into stores.
That Old Navy scene is literally, and all the scenes he fucks around in have like major product placement,
100%.
so they could pay Eddie
Old
Murphy.
Navy. He goes to the Apple Store.
Yep.
I think what does Elizabeth Banks hit him with? Probably like a Subaru or something.
Yeah.
Not the Subi, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Elizabeth Banks is god
Oh,
awful in
atrocious.
this movie.
She's so, and I think she's funny when she needs to be, and I
Sure.
think she's so beautiful. But like, holy fuck, she sucks
She's,
in this movie.
And it's like,
she's very
to be
funny.
fair, like the script is god awful.
She's
but,
very
like,
the
funny.
script doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah, right.
Improvisational.
She's very funny in the Pitch Perfects.
Yeah.
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 Scrubs, she's great in.
Oh yeah.
It also has your classic mid 2000s comedy isms of homophobia.
Playful homophobia.
I mean,
yeah.
it's blatant though. I mean, the stereotypical.
You could say the movie has balls though. You could say it's not afraid of this anti-woke, SJW, politically correct climate.
We need movies that are so bad that they like, but with their chest out.
Yeah.
Like this movie is one of a kind.
I need a fact check. I wonder like what Eddie Murphy did like right after this movie, because did he do anything?
Norbit was right before this.
Yeah, like did this like end his career for a while?
No.
Really?
Eddie Murphy see that's the thing is Eddie
Shrek
Murphy
4.
became this like untouchable sort of figure to where like he could just do shit like this. He was like Kevin Hart before Kevin Hart really like
He was in a couple things, but they were all dog shit.
Yeah.
That's and he's still
Anyone remember 1,000 Words?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there
No.
you go.
Oh yeah. I actually was
No,
going to say
I
that
don't.
one, but I could have assumed there had to have been another shitty comedy in between there.
Imagine that.
Oh, you're so right.
Yeah.
I prefer Adam Sandler's bedtime stories.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
like that movie.
I don't even know where to begin with this.
Your taste is so enigmatic.
So weird,
dude.
but this is
But I love it.
collides.
You stand 10 toes down on
It
it. I respect
conflicts
it.
with like, okay, I love this movie as a child, and I refuse to watch it as an adult because I know I won't like it now.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep it locked away in the vault.
Versus the shit that I see as an adult, where it's like, this is what I actually like, but no one else gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like, 9-year-old me would have hated the Brown Bunny.
Yeah, what 9-year-old's watching the fucking Brown Bunny?
No one should be watching the Brown Bunny.
Yeah, well.
That movie's just for you.
Yet I will be showing it to you on Thursday.
Yay. No,
I'm honestly glad my invite got lost in the mail.
let me get the two things I like about this movie out of the way.
Okay.
You said one of them when we were watching it. Eddie Murphy is a talented a physical comedian.
Yes.
He can sell the slapstick
Like when
gags. They're
when
not inspired in
No,
this
but when
movie.
he's doing like dumb faces, like I don't know, it's like I get
It's goofy.
He's committed.
I'll
He's
committed,
I'll
100%.
slightly exhale air out of my nose, you know.
And the second thing, as racially insensitive as the joke is, Dave Ming Chang
Is the funniest
is
joke.
the
It's
funny
so
is
fucking funny.
genuinely like unironically the funniest joke
Yeah.
in the movie.
Like that's a good bit.
Like all the other times I was laughing at the movie. I feel like that was the one time
I was laughing with them.
And except when they try to use it as a serious moment at the end, and then I was laughing at it again.
All right.
And it's just it's a beautiful thing to watch one of these mid 2000s like shit bombs.
We don't get movies like this anymore, genuinely, and I think like
because our bad movies now are studio slop.
I was gonna say, I guess we just talked about this, how like it's like if I can use a metaphor for the American economic site, you know how everyone is just becoming middle class now?
Yeah.
Like the gap is becoming so divided because the middle is getting so bigger.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening with movies.
I think it's the opposite.
The middle is becoming so spread out and big. Is it?
I think there is no middle class now. It's only you're either.
I think it's like syndrome logic. Like once everyone's middle class, no one will be. You know.
Well, I honestly, and I view movies nowadays the way that I'm talking about, where it's like you're either really fucking dog shit and like not self-aware, which this movie, I can't fucking tell if this movie knows how bad it is.
I don't think it does,
yeah.
And that's kind of part of the fun.
Beautiful,
like,
because
ironic comedy is the death of comedy.
If this had come out like 10 years later, I think it definitely would have been a lot more like,
he's right behind.
Yeah, look how dumb this is.
I have said this before. Deadpool at once is a movie I enjoy, and also the death of cinema.
Yeah,
talking shit, dude.
Because now, after Deadpool came out, every writer was like, "I'm gonna do this ironic comedy. Yeah. Look how bad we are.
Yeah.
Look how cool we are. We know that our writing is bad.
Wink,
wink.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah,
there's
and it is
an earnestness
my dick.
to meet Dave.
Yeah.
Like there's a sweetness to it that like
it's
like dare I say an integrity.
It's like it's like when a little kid like comes up and brings you like a little macaroni crayon drawing. It's just the worst fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. But like that kid's looking up at you with big peepers, and like you're just like,
that's beautiful,
man.
I'd say
it's great. We'll put it on the fridge. Like
I'd say the closest thing we've gotten to meet Dave in the last couple of years.
Bo was afraid.
Well, I was talking in terms of the quality level of Meet Dave, but also
Bo was afraid.
No, stop.
Is Clifford the Big Red Dog?
Holy shit, you're so right.
Because that was a movie we watched, and it was like, oh, this movie is earnest, it's cute, it's dog shit.
It's terrible, but at least it's like.
And I was reminded of that.
I genuinely felt like everyone watching this was like. Yeah, kids will like this at least.
And like that, it looks horrendous. Meet Dave.
Yeah,
it is hideous. All the like normal scenes are shot like a sitcom, like very basic lighting setups, very basic.
No, not a soap opera.
And then the sequences with the visual effects of the little aliens, they're bad.
Oh yeah,
very very bad.
Oh yeah.
The only thing I would say in like a positive sense is sometimes they use like sets of like the inside of
the practical sets inside of Dave are kind of fun. They
kind of cute.
Kind of give like Star Trek.
There's like one where it's like inside like a mouth, and it's like there's like a fleshy.
Looks like the Astroworld cover.
Yeah,
it's lit.
Kevin Hart.
You think?
In this
you
movie?
think?
He is. He sure is.
You think Travis Scott likes Meet Dave?
I think he's too high on Xanax all the time to have even
watched a movie.
Or if Meet Dave was in front of him, he would not know what the fuck is going on.
You're right.
He was in a movie.
You're right. He probably likes Norbit more.
It's not out for. Why release it? Harmony
Korine's movie.
Yeah.
Also, Naomi. What's her name? The black woman.
Oh, Gabrielle Union.
What did I say?
Naomi.
I don't know. Were you thinking of? You thinking of Naomi Watts?
She's not black.
No, she's not. That's why I'm confused.
Gabrielle Union for the second week in a row because she was in Bad Boys 2.
There you go. There's a thread.
Where do we want to what do we even want to fucking talk about in this goddamn movie, bro?
She's beautiful. She's the most perfect woman.
Speaking of Gabrielle Union, I went to a bachelor party a few weeks ago, and we just did this funny bit.
Yeah.
Where like the whole weekend we would just like be in the middle of like we would try and name as many black women as we could. So like as the weekend go by, we'd be in the middle of playing cards and just be like, Michelle Obama. Like, you know what I mean? Just
Gabrielle Union.
Yeah, literally. So it's like
we should play that game on the podcast.
No, I fucking like I will. So if I'm ever in like if I ever do that bit, like I'm in the like we're just eating dinner.
I got you.
Fuck Oprah Winfrey, like you know what I mean? Like that's I have to keep thinking of them, you know.
What do we even say about Meet Dave? At one point, all the aliens start becoming more human because they're getting accustomed to human things.
Gabrielle Union wants to fuck Eddie Murphy.
And then the one just turns gay. Earth being on Earth for one day turns him gay.
Being gay isn't a choice. He was always gay.
You're right.
He was just radicalized by the Meet Dave military.
In one day.
Yeah. The motherfucker spends 8 hours in Manhattan.
And his name is Johnny Sparkles or something really
homophobic.
Something really homophobic.
Happy Pride, everyone. What a movie to celebrate Pride with. I
don't have anything else to say. It's fucking Meet Dave.
I don't know. Think of something.
Pee pee poo poo caca bullshit. It stinks, dude.
But it's so good.
But I think
I was loving watching it.
I think it does speak to like.
It almost does nothing right though.
I think it speaks to like.
It does nothing.
I think it speaks to like a deeper understanding of the human experience, though. You know what I mean? Like it has a lot to say about like what it means to be human and like how someone so alien in nature can like come to our planet and like come together to like an understanding with us, you know what
Kyle,
I mean?
I need you to read my fucking Letterboxd review on air right now. Because it is genuinely how I feel about this movie.
This movie is 80 minutes long and it feels like 2 hours.
It feels like 2.5 hours long, dude.
Because there's like so many subplots, like these fucking cops take up like 15 minutes. They don't do anything.
Oh my god, that ending! I thought it was gonna end, and then it just
kind of keeps going.
So the review by Dylan Miller, follow him at the Slope God on Letterboxd, is a surrealist nightmare about the complexities of severe autism. Can't believe this exists. This thing is out of this world.
And that is exactly how I feel about this fucking movie. I think it's a masterpiece. I hate it so much.
Do we want ratings? Are we still talking about
1 out of 5.
Half star with the light.
Yeah, with a heart.
Button.
1 out of 5.
Yeah.
With a heart.
1 out of 5.
So I fucking hate this movie. I love it so much.
Yeah. The complexities.
I love this.
Smoke a little weed with your boys and turn this on and just like dissociate.
See, here's the thing. I can't even agree with that. I don't hate it. It's bad. Like it's bad.
Yeah.
But I don't hate it. You know
I'm
what I mean?
like
it. No, it's just like it's so incompetent that it's almost like endearing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
I'm so repulsed that this exists.
But it's also
I
so
love
like
it so much.
In terms of like the volume of dog shit I've watched in my life, this like barely.
That's what I mean.
Barely scratches the surface.
There's
you know
shit
what I mean?
like In a Violent Nature, which technically I gave a higher rating than this.
But that could have like upset you more.
I hate that movie so much, and I haven't hated a movie like that in forever. I genuinely love Meet Dave.
Yeah.
It sucks so fucking much.
I keep saying it, dude.
Worst.
I keep saying it, dude. I'm gonna put you onto some garbage here. Like, get to me when we watch your Hunter from the Future, dog. Like, we'll fucking watch Battlefield Earth, dude. Fucking.
That's a classic. I love that movie.
Get into some
fun.
Like Battlefield Earth.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the worst thing.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
No, I have no idea.
So you know John Travolta's a Scientologist, right?
Of course.
So in the early 2000s, he basically like self-funded his own Star Wars that was based on a book by L. Ron Hubbard.
By the creator of Scientology.
Yeah. And fictional writer L. Ron Hubbard.
Yes, the sci-fi writer.
Fantasy writer L. Ron Hubbard.
Yep, and
who started a religion.
It is the most hideous film ever made. It's all on Dutch angle.
However, John Travolta is giving a performance like Tommy Wiseau. It's
John Travolta plays an alien and he's talking like this the whole time. Man animals! Like it's
the friendly bartender. Like he's such a good. He's got like dreads. He's got like they've got like predator dreads.
But Jordan, whenever you bring up these movies, this is what I think of. I think of us. I'm gonna hit your card a little bit. I'm probably gonna have like 5 drinks too many. And, like, it's gonna be the best time.
Dog, if I ever make you watch Battlefield Earth sober, you have permission to block me on everything. Like, that. Like, I would never put you under that, like...
These bad movies, I'm gonna walk out of them going, like, that is fucking repulsive. That shouldn't exist. I hate that you showed that to me, Jordan. Why have you watched that? I had such a good time, dude.
I had a blast. I don't know what I'd show you if I wanted to show you, like, a terrible movie that you'd hate. Like...
That's
We're just too fun, dog. Like
I'd show you, like, Crash. I don't know.
I've never seen that. I have no interest in seeing that.
One day.
I mean, yeah.
Another one near that, another Best Picture nominee that was like repulsive is Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close from 2011.
That's the title of the movie?
Yeah, it's a 9/11 movie.
Tom Hanks.
Oh, is that the Robert Pattinson one?
No,
Different.
different. This one's post 9/11 movie.
Okay.
But
Tom Hanks died in 9/11.
For the record, I mean, Southland Tales is my shit. That's in the same boat where it's just like this movie sucks so much.
Is that the first movie you think of when
post 9/11?
Post 9/11?
Yes.
Mine's War of the Worlds.
But that's got like integrity and merit.
Yeah, it's because it's a good
made by
Whereas like Southland Tales is just like
I thought you loved Southland Tales.
I do.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm able to separate. That's where it gets weird. That's where I'm like an insane person.
Some people genuinely think that movie's a masterpiece. Genuinely.
I think those people are schizophrenic, or some sort of like neurodivergent in the bad way because
the TikTok way.
Yeah, where it's just kind of like, oh, you're just having this opinion because it makes you feel special.
My go-to post 9/11 movie is The Dark Knight.
Yeah, sure.
That's awesome.
I think that's the movie that encapsulates post 9/11 fear mongering the best.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie's all about systems of justice and like the overreach of like
terrorism.
He gets that whole like security
Why have
the
I
monitors.
never put that together?
Yeah.
That is to me that is like the post 9/11 movie.
Meet Dave, Half Starve.
I thought you were gonna say Meet Dave is the post 9/11 movie of all time.
God. All right.
Meet Dave's coming in from orbit, hits the fucking towers. Anyway.
That brings us to 2015.
About to have your guts rearranged inside out.
There
Spoilers.
you go.
It's on the thumbnail, they know.
So Pixar was in a strange place in 2015. They had kind of started to fall off a little bit. You had Cars 2, not great.
Brave.
You had Brave, not great. And then this was the newest one after that. And this was seen at the time as kind of a bounce back. Like, oh shit, I'm
going into my Rolodex with anything released between Cars 2 and Inside Out.
I was trying to think.
Monsters University.
But
who gives a fuck? As Dylan likes to say, that is a nothing movie.
Yeah. You love that movie.
Like it.
You like it. Okay.
I love it.
Inside Out at the time was seen as like they still got it after a couple of mediocre efforts. And in this one, it follows a little girl named Riley, and she's kind of going through things. Her family's moving across the country, starting in a new school, but the movie is about the emotions that control her. The movie takes place in her head.
No, the emotions don't control her, man. That's the whole point.
Well, they do in this first one.
Oh, yeah.
So it's about the emotions that are in her head: joy, fear, anger, disgust, and sadness. And as kind of Riley's going through this tumultuous time, the emotions are getting a little more fragile. Yeah. Specifically joy, as she's trying to keep her happy through all this.
Kind of takes the reins and tries to take control of the whole setup.
And through a series of circumstances, joy and sadness get lost inside Riley's mind and have to make their way back so that Riley can experience joy and sadness again.
That's true.
You got some nice fucking calves, Jordan.
Thank you, man. Yeah, dude. No fucking. I think I had a football coach tell me one time he hadn't seen calves like that since the Brontosaurus died out.
I mean, some real tree trunks.
That's great.
Yeah, dude. Fucking I was a beast on the field, dude. I could have gone pro.
I believe that. If you ran into me, I think
you'd obliterate.
Yeah, I'd die.
You turn into a fine red paste.
Anyway,
dog, you would turn inside out. Anyway.
So Inside Out.
That's great.
I love this movie.
Yeah, it's great.
I love this movie.
It's kind of like I love it's the good version of Elemental in that it is conceptually kind of like a parody of a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Or what people's idea of a Pixar movie
weirdly
is.
The most Pixar of all Pixar movies.
Yeah.
In a way,
but
yes.
I think this still hits about as well as it did 10 years ago, man.
Absolutely.
I think the performances really do a lot of the heavy lifting here.
Fantastic.
Amy Poehler.
Some of my favorite
really
voices.
good.
I mean, I love Bill Hader as Fear. Fear.
He's got a couple of my favorite lines, which I'll get to later.
Yeah, like people do the whole argument for like hire voice actors, and like I guess, but this would be like Exhibit A for what for like hiring
it really takes it from
Lewis Black is so funny.
Maybe the best casted in the whole ensemble was Lewis Black. I think as Anger. He's
so good.
It is my favorite.
Do you fuck with any Lewis Black?
I wish I knew who that was.
He's a stand-up comedian. You should check.
One time he got me.
You should check out. We were just talking about this before the show. He's really funny. He does like the whole.
Do you have any specials you'd recommend?
Nothing off the top. I think like he's kind of done like the movie thing recently. A lot of the stuff I've seen would have like been like I caught it on Comedy Central, like on TV back in the day. But I think he had like a Daily Show type show at some point. So, but no, he does the whole like angry like I mean there was a reason he was cast as Anger. Of course, that's like his whole shtick.
I'll peep if he has like specials or something.
Definitely pop out for it. He's funny.
But yeah, this movie, what works so well about it for me is it's lightning quick.
Yeah,
this shit impeccably paced,
snappy as fuck.
And it captures a lot of what makes the first two Toy Story movies work. It's kind of that buddy yin and yang. So it's the main two are joy and sadness. They're clashing heads constantly.
Yeah, the two most opposite of the emotions.
And I would say that aspect reminds me of Toy Story 1.
Also, got to give a shout out to Phyllis Smith. Great sadness.
She's great.
Office alum.
So that aspect's very Toy Story 1, but then the Toy Story 2 is how it takes the more existential ideas and kind of weaves them into this journey.
I think it's so clever how much they take these like high concept things that like children are probably experiencing for the idea of like emotions and like your personality and who you are like as a being, like experiencing all these ideas for the first time. I think the most appreciative thing about this movie is that it never feels like it's like pandering to children.
I don't
at
think
all.
so.
Like this is a movie that is like it's very like frank in the way it like addresses things and all like ideas of like emotionality and all that.
Just growing up and kind of becoming sentient in a way.
Yeah, becoming a person.
Yeah.
I watched this movie as an adult. For the second time.
Yeah.
The first time was when I was 2015. This movie came out 9 years ago. I was 12.
God damn. Barely out of diapers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. You watch this when you're 12, and it's like it's a Disney movie, and I was sort of evolving into like. I was starting to get into more.
You were in your cartoons are gay phase.
For lack of a better description,
every young man goes through that phase where they're like, oh, I don't.
And I'm
Disney.
But I'm watching this as an adult, and I'm amazed at how. I mean, when you're a kid, man, you think your emotions and your changes are so specific to you.
Yeah.
And to an extent, they really are. I mean, everyone has their own sort of subjective experience growing up. Mm-hmm. But you watch a movie like this, and it's just like, oh, fuck, it's not just me.
It's amazing how, like, utilizing one person's specific experience, they still make it so universal.
It's uni-fucking-versal.
And I think watching it as an adult, it almost hits harder once you're on the other side.
It's in retrospect. The retrospect of watching this movie really fucking crushed me.
Yeah. And
the emotional, not to cut you off, Kyle, the emotional beats of this movie just fucking.
I was gonna say, it's funny enough. The strongest thing about Inside Out is the emotional core. Like I think, like
I teared up multiple times. It
got me. Like I'm sitting there,
genuinely
grown ass man, 25 years old, sitting there in my dark room watching this on the computer, watching Bing Bong fade away into nothingness, and I'm like choking up. I'm fucking like
dead ass. I mean
that and the last sequence with her hugging her parents are both just such fantastic.
I love, and this is my only time I'm gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
But for the cum boys out there, I mean, fucking. The dad from this movie just looks like Nick Mullen.
Yeah.
Did that add something for you?
It's funny because obviously when I saw this movie when I was 12, had no idea what Comptown was. Mm-hmm. I was a pure boy back then, dude.
You hadn't been
I hadn't been corrupted just yet. And watching it now.
You know who the voice actor for the dad is, right?
No, I don't.
It's Kyle MacLachlan.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
It's Twin Peaks.
The
mom's Diane Lane, but I don't imagine
Dune and Blue Velvet guys, sorry.
I mean, you think of Lynch still.
So right.
You think of Lynch when you
Get him.
what's an interesting lens to watch this through, and what I kind of is everything that the main two emotions are doing through the movie, joy and sadness. It's so not thoughtless the way they do it, because the way they're arguing and everything, it kind of apes what's going on inside Riley's head at the time, which, yes, they're her emotions, but they're so clever about the way they're doing it. Like how joy, the moments that joy is shutting out sadness, it's like aping how a person's mind would work, and how emotions are taking control and losing it, and
how it does work, man.
Yeah,
like,
I know,
and that's what I mean.
And
like,
it's so well thought out and so well crafted.
To be able to create that sort of story, which on its surface is perfect for like a Pixar sort of animated feature.
Yeah.
To be able to connect at that universal level, which it did. I mean, what did this movie fucking make? I mean,
a lot of money.
I mean,
a lot of
money. I mean, this was the biggest fucking thing when it came out.
Yes. It saved Pixar at the time, which was like going downhill.
Which is so crazy to think about in retrospect, because like I was like 12. Pixar was beginning to escape sort of my mind. I didn't give
like
a
I've
shit
seen The
about
Incredibles.
it.
I've seen it
man.
enough.
Like I've seen Ratatouille. I didn't
also,
give a shit.
a great character design in this movie.
I was
all
gonna
of the
say,
emotions.
Like you don't see like just the visual animation style of this movie. Like it is Pixar, but it's so unique among Pixar. Like there's like, it's one of those things like they say in animation where like your characters they should be a silhouette, and people should still be able to tell you who it is.
Yep.
Like that's the mark of good character design in animation, and I think they really nail that in this, where it's like.
To be fair, I think Pixar is always kind of.
They've been amazing at
for
it.
sure,
Always.
but I think like
you're right.
there's like a clear distinction between like pre-Cars 2 Pixar and post-Cars 2 Pixar, and I'm more impressed that a post-Cars 2 Pixar was able to create something so like as instantly iconic as this. You know what I mean? Like so many of the characters and are like so just stand out amongst the catalog in terms of like its visual presentation.
And I want to get to maybe the MVP of the movie for me, which is Michael Giacchino's score. I adore the score in this movie. It's so ethereal. Mm-hmm. It's so sweeping and beautiful. That little like din 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 din, that little melody that they keep reincorporating.
Michael Giacchino's the GOAT, dude. Like,
he's done the four best Pixar scores. He did Up, he did Incredibles, he did Ratatouille, and he did this. He is an absolute beast.
The GOAT.
I
didn't stand out to me.
No, there are so many moments with the score that I find so good. There's a moment where it swells when her and Bing Bong are in like the they're looking for his rocket.
No, sorry. The Bing Bong. See, it works with the emotional beats. I guess I'm overlooking.
Bing Bong is a character which we'll get into. It's like Riley's imaginary friend that's kind of like been forgotten.
Yeah, it's the innocence.
I think
yes,
I think with the score, it's one of those things where it's like. It's hard to like pick out like a piece of music that I like, but when I'm watching it, like
of course,
it suits
it fucking
suits the moment like so well. I think I kind of agree. It's not quite as like stand out as like The Incredibles or Ratatouille.
No,
but in terms of like how it serves the story, it's perfect.
I agree.
Yeah. And that Bing Bong scene destroyed me.
Yeah.
And his line, "Take her to the moon" for me is absolutely
Dude,
crushing.
I did not expect the cotton candy elephant to make like a noble sacrifice when I first saw this.
I know.
Caught me off guard, man. And it's not even like they don't do like the cheap kids movie thing where like he comes back. No, he's dead. He's dead forever.
He's dead. And they don't do the cheap kids movie thing where there's an obvious villain either, because the villain is just Joy is the closest thing to an antagonist, but she's also.
I guess like Anger's kind of the antagonist for like 5 minutes when he gets the idea to run away, but like for the most part it's Joy.
It's such like a respectful movie to the intelligence of the audience, to the children watching it, to the adults watching it.
When I say it never panders, it never like falls back too hard on like conventional like tropes that you would like groan at. You know what I mean? Like even when it does them in a clever enough way that you're kind of like, okay, like this, you know.
Dude, I was like getting chills at multiple points when she hands Sadness all the core memories. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's such a like an impactful moment, and like
one of my favorite endings to a Pixar movie. Maybe like that shit hits.
It really does hit, and that's the thing about this movie. Without credits, it's like 85 minutes in and out. Mm-hmm. It's so brief and so packed with just great ideas and fun.
I think that also comes with the fact that the story, like, at its core is just so simple. Like, the stakes are so low, and it's just about a little girl, like, wanting to run away from home. Ultimately. Yeah. But, like, the fact that they make that seem like a fucking Lord of the Rings style, like, adventure, like, this grand, like, journey that these emotions have to go on is so, it makes, like, such a small character arc feel like such a grand like adventure, and I think they nail that really well.
My only quibble with this movie is, while I do find it really funny sometimes, I think some of the humor can take away from some of the dramatic moments.
Sure. Feels like a product of its time.
For sure. Say that. I do think that some of the jokes can kind of deflate the emotion.
A specific example, because I don't think I ever felt like any like serious moment get like.
There's a couple near the end. There's a moment when it's ramping towards the climax, and Riley's shutting off her emotions and they can't use the console, and they're trying to use it, and then in the middle of that they're doing slapstick with fear.
Oh yeah.
That I find like, all right. Yeah, this is the point to stop.
I did think that running gag was funny, where like every time Fear tried to use the console, Anger would just like punch him in the throat.
The Bill Hader line that makes me laugh the hardest is at one point they go to, it's like a Hollywood style place where they film the dreams.
And Fear is like in charge of watching the monitor.
And there's a part where like they're trying to scare Riley awake with a bunch of shit. And Fear goes, boo, pick a plot line.
And you're watching Being John Malkovich.
But Bill Hader's delivery of that line fucking kills me.
This is a bad actress. Like,
yeah, he's good, man.
He's good.
Yeah, the most like underused one is Mindy Kaling. She doesn't do really much in this first movie at all. And they replace her in the second movie.
I was going to say, it's kind of funny, they replace them both with lesser-known actors, but the characters get more to do in the second one.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Did you see, like, why they didn't come back?
Yeah.
So Amy Poehler apparently made, like, $5 million off of the second movie, and they offered everyone else, like, $100,000 to come back. So Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling were kind of like insulted by that.
That's crazy. They couldn't meet like a middle ground where Amy Poehler is like, I don't know, $1 million, and then everyone else gets like $1 million as well, because like Bill Hader and comedian Louis Black, like those are the standouts. In the first one.
Hey, you know what? Even in the second one, like Anger gets a lot more to do in the second one.
They
get a lot. Like, well, I think that's also, not to get too much in the second one, but in this first one, they make a clear point to separate joy and sadness, and then all the other emotions are together.
Whereas in
the second one, it's more of an adventure with all of them. So you get a little...
Except sadness.
Except sadness, who kind of gets... which is honestly smart, because she's the one you probably spend the most time with besides Joy in the first one.
They're trying to develop the other ones. Yeah. Anyway, I do want to move on to the second one, news. But do you have anything else to add to the first one?
No, guys. I'm a heartless bastard who feels he's above these movies.
Oh, okay. So what would you give it?
3.5.
Yeah.
Liked it a lot.
This is a comfortable 4.5 for me. It is upper echelon Pixar for me. It's kind of hovering outside the top 5, probably 7, 8.
Talking about this, Jordan, not to cut off your score, but like talking about it, just like, fuck, man, it's a really great, like, just a good family movie.
We were talking about it. I think in terms of like late stage Pixar, it's this, Coco, and Soul. Those are like the 3.
Neither of which I've seen, but like this is just a
Coco, low key, top 5 Pixar for me. I love Coco.
Soul is really
Soul's I think in hindsight, Soul's probably my least favorite of those 3.
I agree with you.
I think I might have, because it came out like right at the end of COVID, like 2020, so I may have overhyped that one a little bit, but it's still great.
Yeah.
Coco goes hard. We should watch Coco sometime.
So what would you give Inside?
4 out of 5. I agree with you.
4 out of 5.
Yeah, pretty comfortable.
Did you give it a 4.5?
I give it 4.5, 4, 3.5. Yep. Cool. So that one really holds up. I was very happy. I was really hoping it would.
Holds up really well.
Now we get Inside Out 2, and nowadays Pixar is on even shakier ground than when
because they keep waiting 10 years to make their sequels, which is a questionable decision, I guess, at best.
So since in that ground between the 2 Inside Out movies, I have loved
2 Pixar movies, I guess.
Coco's great, Soul's awesome. I love Toy Story 4.
Oh, yeah. Toy Story 4. I forgot about Toy Story 4.
And then I really...
Says a lot about it.
And
it is a movie I like, but I
fucking love it. I love Toy Story 4.
My hot take is it's better than the first one.
I agree. I also quite like Luca.
Luca's cute. Luca and Turning Red are kind of in that category for me, where I'm kind of like, okay, maybe we're turning things around a little bit. Like, these aren't great. These
but
aren't
then you'll get, like, Elemental.
You're kind of like, back to the same old shit.
I never saw Onward. Didn't appeal to me.
I'll take a page out of Dylan's book. That is a nothing movie.
Nothing movie.
Onward is a in 1 year out the other.
So anyway, I had no idea how I was going to feel about Inside Out 2 going in. And this one, Riley's a teenager now.
Yes.
And she basically goes away to hockey camp for summer.
Once again, a very low stakes.
Low stakes.
Takes place over a weekend.
And the emotions are surprised when Riley seems to hit puberty.
Well, in the first movie, at the very end,
There's a joke.
They get a new console, and they're like, "The fuck is the puberty button?" And you're like, I know, we'll worry about that later. And I think that I thought that was a really
Funny.
neat callback that they actually utilized something they set up.
Yep. And they are surprised by the arrival of 4 new emotions, the main one being anxiety, played by Maya Hawke.
My baby.
And anxiety quickly makes her presence known.
As anxiety often does.
Yeah. In a way that kind of threatens the...
She kind of hijacks the headquarters and then...
Yeah. And from there, we're going to do spoiler-free for a while. What did we think of Inside Out 2?
I'll let Dylan go first, because I feel like...
Gives a fucking shit, man.
It
came out the first one came out 9 years ago. I was a kid. I'm not a high schooler anymore.
Can I immediately dispute your point?
Take the fucking floor.
Yeah, I want to dispute your point immediately, because 9 years between a movie, there were 11 years between Toy Story 2 and 3. Didn't lessen the impact of Toy Story 3 at all.
There is more universal... There's more to grasp on with Toy Story 2 being in the same universe than there is with Inside Out, the second one.
Sure.
That being said, Maya Hawke... I mean, I can make the joke, right? I'm hearing Maya Hawke's... her animation talking in this, and all I see is her beautiful face, her beautiful body, the animating.
All right, calm down.
Movie.
I don't know what you hallucinating had to do with
she
skitzing out.
Just seeing visions of.
She is one of the highlights of this movie.
She's my highlight.
I thought all the new emotions were really good.
I agree.
Really fun.
I think my biggest. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was thinking my biggest worry going into this was that the new emotions would be annoying or just kind of whatever. I don't know.
No, I thought they were good.
I don't know. I normally listen. If this was Incredibles 2, I'd agree with you. I was impressed by how much this seemed to actually matter as a sequel.
I respect that
compared to other Pixar sequels.
But I do. I think that's subjective.
I mean, all art is subjective.
No. But on the talking, I mean, because there's some things we talk about where it's no, I'm just sounding like a crazy person.
No. I'm not invalidating your opinion. I think that's a perfectly valid take.
Of course.
I'm just saying, I think, when you look at this not in a vacuum, for me, I think it just... something about this movie feels more like it came out of a desire to make a sequel, make a movie rather than get money.
Yeah.
I don't think it feels like a cash grab.
It doesn't.
That's what I'm trying to explain. Like compared to Finding Dory.
I'm talking
or something that.
Which
you know what I mean?
You brought that up whenever we came out of the theater. I agree. It doesn't feel like a studio was okay.
Yeah.
We've got a renaissance coming up for this movie. How are we going to make a sequel? And let's just come up with a...
Because it kind of speaks to your point. It's been 10 years. You know what I mean? It's not like... It's not like they're chasing,
For me.
You know what I mean? But I'm saying, in terms of, the cash grab thing, I think that helps their case.
Of course.
Having waited so long, because it makes it feel more like they waited to have... Until they had a story worth telling.
I think this is an authentic film. I think it comes from a sincere place. For me, this movie, while it's able to capture, similar to the first one, of
it's not as good.
Oh man, it's that universal sort of. I mean, anxiety is portrayed really well. That whole, I guess that's spoiler.
Yeah. But I know the climax.
I think it captures that.
Yeah.
As for me, and my taste, I just don't give a shit.
This is a shitty movie for babies.
It's but it's not.
No. I'm giving you shit.
I know you're doing a bit, but like,
what I'm gonna say is it's not as good as the first one, obviously.
Let's get that out of the way. The first one is better.
The first one's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
While this one is less focused than the first one, a little more overstuffed than the first one, and lacks kind of the emotional punch that the first one had, I still thought it was very entertaining. Mm-hmm. I thought it maintained that fast pace from the first one. It's about the same length, like that hour and a half time. And there is a lot of really fun, not only the building off the new emotions and stuff, but world building wise, I think they expand it in a very thoughtful way.
I think one of the things that really surprised me about this movie is how much it is not only able to expand upon the world building, but like this next stage of Riley's life felt like I don't know, like I was worried. I was really worried going into this that this was just going to be kind of like written off or whatever. But I think like, in terms of like the emotional arc of the Inside Out movies, this picks up like pretty well from where the last one leaves up, and takes that baton and runs with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it
jogs with it.
Does it? Man, it handles the authenticity of being a fucking like teenager trying to fit in really well.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Yeah.
I know it's not that lightning in a bottle. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, for sure.
It also does that authenticity really well.
And I think, from what I'm hearing, it is people with severe anxiety, which I do have it, and I felt it watching this movie, but it is really emotionally landing with some people, and I fucking love that. I think the fact that it is able to do that is great.
Wait till spoilers, because there are things in this movie that really did connect with
Absolutely.
me.
Near the end, there are some.
We can probably get into spoilers. We've pretty much given our...
Yeah.
Well, you want to do...
Yeah. Solid 3.5 out of 5.
This is also, I'm feeling at a comfortable 3.5.
I think I did 3.
Yeah.
I did it.
That's totally fair.
Without the liked one, but that doesn't speak to like the quality of the movie. I think the movie is like...
That's a personal preference thing.
Yeah.
Speaks to like
you got the brown bunny to watch. You can't be sitting around watching this baby shit.
Exactly.
So what do you want to? So what do you want to get
Vincent Gallo had been in Inside Out too.
What do you want to start with, spoiler wise?
The anxiety scene really.
The one where she's having a panic attack.
So she's into this sort of like hockey tournament.
Yeah.
With her 2 friends and.
The realistic depiction of a panic attack in an animated movie.
That's the meme online.
I don't know. It's similar to Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
It's not like 100%. I think anxiety is honestly something that's super subjective. I think that's
what manifests
1 in 1 for certain
differently
people.
in everyone.
But it is what they accompany with that scene of the classic like heartbeat. And you're just kind of like spiraling. What they accompany it with, which I think makes this movie sort of necessary in the way that I'm not giving it credit for as a whole.
Yeah.
But what this movie does really well is like it accompanies it with the scenes of the characters on the inside.
Anxiety is doing
the fuck out.
Flash.
And I know
that animation's great too.
That connected with me a lot. I don't know.
Anxiety, it's going to be an odd comparison, but anxiety is a character. I'm going to do it direct. I just farted.
Hopefully the mic picked it up.
I really hope it did. So, anxiety as a character, was the direct comparison I'm going to have Pixar-wise recently is Forky from Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Also played by Tony Hale, who plays Fear in this movie.
Yes. It's a character that before the movie released, I was like, this is going to be an annoying-ass character. And the voice acting's great. The animation for the character is great, and they have an emotional core that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
Kind of more of a proper antagonist.
The way that they animate,
the first movie too.
I do think it peaks with that tornado scene at the end, but the way they animate anxiety throughout the whole movie is fantastic. Her little sight gags involving like energy drinks and just the way she like kind of zips around the room is very like lively and energetic and
I do think Maya Hawke is perfect for that.
She's great.
I guess I forgot
squeal
to...
she does every now and again is so good.
I forgot to mention it, I think, in the beginning of the podcast, but like I turned on a little bit of Stranger Things 3.
Yeah.
Where she's introduced, and she has a very similar energy. I'm in love with Maya Hawke. I think she's just a perfect...
I think Ayo Edebiri is really fun as...
Oh my god, she's great.
Yes.
She's
got the perfect...
Yeah, man.
She's got the perfect voice for an animated movie.
Yeah.
Like...
Who did the... I like that the French... So there's a character...
Ennui. Yeah.
Boredom is essentially this French snob with a lore accurate nose. Not saying...
Genuinely one of the funniest character designs. She's like, her neck is always craned at an angle, like she's never...
French accurate.
It's another thing.
She's got an app on her phone to control the emotion console, so she doesn't have to get up from the couch.
Yeah.
Like...
Genuinely, it's another thing where I think the character designs are great. I think if you showed just a silhouette of anxiety, I would know because of her fucking like huge mouth and like
And that's what I'm saying. Like so much clearly like went into like the thought behind this movie that like it comes off so much better,
and it's gonna hit for the audiences that like, are gonna come for
sure.
I'm just not one of them.
I think you sold the emotional punch a little short earlier.
It didn't hit me personally.
Maybe not quite as good as the first one, but I think it's in the same ballpark for sure in terms of like that moment where she's getting to anxiety in the tornado when she tells her to let go and everything that is like such a you could feel the collective sigh of relief in the theater.
I was feeling it. It's never that I wasn't feeling it. Let me rephrase my previous.
We also did not have a great theater experience. It was a little disruptive.
Let me rephrase.
Maybe we should get rid of movie theaters, actually, guys.
Yeah. Let me rephrase it.
Theater.
I was tearing up. At the first one multiple times, and then this one just didn't do that for me. It wasn't that I wasn't feeling it. It didn't quite have that punch for me.
How does it feel to not feel, Kyle?
I feel empty.
My God, I'll tell you what, the woman to the left of me smelled fucking awesome.
You told her that after the movie was over.
Yeah, and I didn't embarrass myself. It wasn't like it wasn't like
it was cool.
It wasn't like a drunk Dylan like.
No, I didn't
smell fucking great.
I didn't say it was.
But typically that's how that goes. I mean, I went to a bar like a couple days ago and made a little the same bar we linked up at.
Did you make a fool of yourself?
I made a little bit of fool of myself trying to chase
Can't show yourself there ever again.
Trying to chase a honey. Dude.
Damn. How old was she?
My age. I mean, she was
no, you're a MILF hunter. No, I'm saying I wasn't talking like I was saying like.
We'll talk about that after because she wasn't the only. Never mind. This is aside from.
That's for the other podcast. That's for the other podcast.
Yeah, that's for bundle mistakes.
It's for the late night.
So, what else was I was gonna say? This movie's very funny.
Yeah,
like it continues.
Might be funnier than the first.
I disagree.
I don't know if I agree. I'd say it might be. In that same ballpark.
I think they get a lot more mileage out of the gags with the other emotions in this one because they get more to do.
Well, there's that whole bit where they're locked in the safe and there's the fucking Dora the Explorer fucker and that video game character.
The video, oh dude, that I don't know. I was a good bit.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. Oh, dude, are you kidding? Later in the movie, when he like sticks his whole fucking hand down the pouch's throat to pull out the dynamite. That's funny, dude.
It's comedy gold, bro.
Sorry, guys. I don't believe in comedy. I don't understand it.
You don't believe
you don't believe it's real,
or do you not have confidence in it?
I don't understand it personally, dude.
Yeah,
that's true. I have seen your stand up.
Yeah. So
that's too personal.
We'll save that for the other podcast.
Did that like Cloud Strife video game character not get you at all?
I literally went I tapped your shoulder and I was like, "That's just Cloud, right?"
Yeah.
I mean,
he shows up on the Mount Crushmore later, like I don't know. It scratched that Smiling Friends itch when they did like the different animation styles, like the grainy like PS1 graphics
and
the
fucking
Pentagon
like graphics. I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it was cute. It was cute.
It was fun.
He said it was cringe.
It wasn't cringe. Just didn't fucking do it for me. Like,
word up.
Hey guys,
if Vincent Gallo had been in Inside Out too.
Yeah, I would have loved his character. What do you guys think Vincent Gallo would have, emotions wise? What do you think his emotion would have been?
Despair,
just like repressed homosexuality, just like anger.
Douchebaggery.
Unchecked jackassery.
This just showed me how like way too invested in him I am versus like how the public sees him, because it's like I'm mentioning like,
you're like, this is my hero.
Repressed homosexuality, a deep anger for like women, and Kyle's just like, yeah, he's just a douchebag. It's just like, well, there's layers to how
guys,
much of a douchebag.
he's really a nice guy once you get to know him.
He's not, but there's
no,
levels
don't get me
to
wrong.
this shit.
He sucks.
He sucks, but there's levels to why he sucks.
There are levels to why he sucks. You can still be a douchebag though, even with layers.
He's so much worse than
Kyle, he's a monster.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's
Vincent Gallo, friend of the show. I love you, but yeah, you probably
stop watching.
I wouldn't want to. I would never want to be in a room with you.
I would.
I can't talk shit. I'm a former Kanye fan. I can't even. Like,
Still,
I got no room to judge. Well, he got hit
fan.
with that lawsuit now, and it's kind of like
that fucked it
like
up.
that's kind of a line for me. Like,
Don't say bye.
Jesus
I
still
mean,
exists. Sorry.
Jesus, that's such a cracker take. That's the album you're going to use to defend.
College Dropout.
Okay, there you go. All
exists.
right.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
I want to say something, but he started the podcast talking about the Shia LaBeouf renaissance, so I'm just gonna ignore it at this point.
No, I mean let's air it out, dude.
No, I don't.
Save it for the other podcast.
You and the tortured artist.
Me and the tortured artist, dude.
That shtick. One and the same. Let's see how the shoot goes first.
We'll talk about that. Anyway, I mean, let's address the fact that we're gonna be gone.
Oh yeah. Let's wrap up.
Let's wrap up. I liked Inside Out 2 a lot. I think you should go see it. Although
it sounds like I liked it the most out of the three of us, probably.
I think so.
I liked it more than you. I watched it in a more profound way.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
I liked Inside Out 2 more.
Yeah, dude, no, I understood Inside Out 2 on a level you will never comprehend. Look at me, Kyle, look at me. I watched Inside Out 2 so much better than you did.
Understandable. And this guy's too good for it.
I liked it. I'm too smart for it. I'm too.
You have to have a very low IQ to understand Inside Out.
He only likes like really smart movies like Hot Rod.
Yeah. Yeah, he likes really smart movies like Meat Dave.
Get the fuck off me.
Pitch him again.
Podcast is going off the rails, so if you like the podcast,
if you enjoyed us being inside people,
if you like the podcast, you can follow it on Twitter at Cinema Shakedown, on
this podcast is going off the rails.
On Instagram at Cinema Shakedown Pod, and it's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple. If you like me, you can follow me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Kyle Craigbaum. That's KRIEGHBAUM.
And you can follow.
God damn it.
You can follow me on Twitter at J_Dennis99 and on Instagram at J_Dennis99 and on Letterboxd at my name.
You can follow me on Letterboxd at The Slow God.
There we go.
You're gonna have to explain that name to me someday.
The God of the.
Yeah. I get the picture.
You can follow me on Instagram at The Slow God, and
we're gonna be gone for the next 2 weeks.
Someone's making a movie.
The smart boy of the podcast,
the brains of the operation.
Who thinks
clearly.
He's smarter than everyone else is making a movie. So, if anything, after this movie is done and when it's being made, after the 2 weeks, we'll be gone.
Those weekends.
When I make this movie and put it out, you can realize
he's
how
making a movie.
How much of a schizophrenic, insane person I am, and realize that none of my movie takes about how much smarter I am than a movie, yada yada. You'll realize how much of a fraud I am.
I'm picturing you giving that speech to like a boardroom of studio executives, trying to pitch
for the loneliest road, just like
you're gonna see how much of a fucking fraud I am.
Such a piece of shit. I'm self-obsessed, and I think it's gonna be a masterpiece. None of you are gonna like it.
Like Meet Dave in a way.
So we will be back the weekend of July 5th, 6th, 7th.
We'll probably do a little catch up if we see any movies between then. Yeah, A Quiet Place comes out. We're gonna miss that.
But yes, I will be watching A Quiet Place Part 2 before then.
The Brown Bunny.
We can talk about the Brown Bunny, and then the
sure, Dylan, we'll talk about the fucking Brown Bunny.
And then the two new
you weren't invited.
The two new releases that will be coming out that weekend are Despicable Me 4. So
and your mom.
and your mom.
I don't know. Fuck it.
And Maxine.
Yes, we already did.
We already did all the Despicable Me movies.
Doing just those two.
Just those two.
Breezy episode to ease us back in. But yeah, we'll be making a movie between that. So.
Bye.
Love you.
I love you more.